Hello, hello. So this is going to be as simple of a video as I can make this, and it's going to be on the differences between target CPA and max conversions and why I pick one versus the other, and sort of what's going on behind the scenes in the algorithm's eyes and what to expect from the actual push that you're seeing. Now, keep in mind that the field, or like whatever you'd want to call this graph, is going to change based on your industry, but the concept still is going to remain the same. And so, what I'm going to show you here, just so you guys see, these are not just random dots, but there's some meaning behind it. Um, Over here on the left-hand side, we have the cost conversion, and it's essentially, and I'll actually just do this. Um, so the cost conversion is going up based on, let me just do that, based on how much you spend, right? So if we spend more, the graph is going to indicate and show us that the cost conversion is typically going to go up. Now, in some cases, you might say, well, based on your business, it might look something not as clean as that, but something that looks more like this. And then really spikes at a certain point based on just the volume of these dots, which are representing people that are actively looking for your services that would convert. And we're layering this on with the entire market, meaning that, whoever's also wanting to run ads in your area, this is what's going on for them as well too. So it's a very dynamic market, and it changes a lot. And a lot of it too has to do with your offer, your positioning, how much people know about you in the first place. I mean, it's it's almost impossible. It is literally impossible to know exactly what you're going to get for the amount that you pay for. But the good news is that you establish a baseline in your account that allows you to say, okay, I've spent this much money, I've got this result. I expect to continue to spend the same amount of money and get the same result. Google tries to, keep you kind of in that box, which is a good thing and a bad thing, right? Consistency is good, but scaling is not as good. And so, with that being said, a lot of people have the question of, well, which bid strategy is going to do better, right? And so, if I give you kind of this illustration here, let's say, and I'll kind of visualize it. So, max conversions, I'll do this one first because this one's easy. Max conversions is going to look more so like this, right? It's going to be kind of a slow arc up in the overall cost conversion. It's going to be pretty consistent, I guess, is more so what I'm trying to say. Whereas if you are running target CPA, it's probably going to look more like this, assuming that you set like a CPA that you want to hit. You're not, going further on that, right? So let's say you want to hit like $100 CPA, and that's like the regular CPA target in the market. You set it to $100 CPA. You'll probably look something like this, where you go up and it's awesome, it's great, and then all of a sudden it just starts to flatline, and you're not really getting more conversions for the cost. You're kind of stuck spending the same amount of money, so you can't really spend more, and the overall cost conversion is just staying the same. You're not capturing any more of these conversions up here. You're just sitting within the baseline and not really growing from there, kind of in the middle of the road per se. And if you try to scale, it won't let you spend more to get more conversions because you've set a target CPA that's restricting you from experimenting out and trying to capture more of these potential buyers that are further out of the reach that it knows it can get based on the market. And so, with that being said, this tends to lead to another issue, which is whenever let's say, run into the scenario, a client comes to us and they're maybe in this point where, they've scaled and now they're like, okay, well, I'm unable to capture more. Like, I'm not really able to push past that. And then they get to the point where they're saying, okay, since it's not able to push past it, they're like, well, what if we, get more restrictive because we're not as profitable on this? And so then they drop the target CPA. And then they're like, well, we're not prospecting out. The algorithm's unable to find more users and capture them. So it's not able to learn and try to develop and understand exactly what's happening with the user base. It tends to then say, okay, well, I can't spend that much money because I don't know if I'm going to capture this one. I'm not 100% sure based on, the leeway that you're giving me. So I'm not even going to bid on it. I'm just not going to spend the money in the first place. And so accounts tend to look like they're slowly dropping off because there's no prospecting to learn where all these new people are. And so this tends to, be kind of a catch-22 issue, because when you scale, it hurts your overall cost conversion, but it allows you to learn and catch more users and kind of bring you back into that where the market's at. But at the same time, if you stay the course, you'll stay somewhat profitable, but your volume is going to get lower and lower and lower until eventually it's going to pretty much live in a certain baseline, because the market, has so much volume of those users. And I would argue that majority of accounts want to scale. And so while you're in that situation of, this, maybe you're capturing this slice of the pie, and you have someone else that's running a more aggressive strategy or a better offer, better deal, better keywords, whatever the case is, they're just going to start pushing spend, and they're going to eventually start to consume everything else, including the small base that you have, because Google's like, well, they'll pay more money for, this user down here. So this user's cost conversion now goes up to like here, and it's outside of your reach now. And so that tends to happen a lot because people are afraid of learning and letting the algorithm kind of grow. And so what I like to do in most scenarios is obviously run max conversions. Now that will just allow you to have that consistent scale, and you can sort of control exactly how much money you're going to spend, which is going to then affect the overall cost conversion, and sort of have it's kind of like an art where you're trying to essentially, have an arc like that, right? You're trying to have more efficiency as you scale, but there's always going to be a point in time where, if we scale and we're doing amazing, let's just say, you're going to get to the point where, there's maybe like one or two conversions up here that are just extremely expensive because, Google's like, hey, I don't know if these people are going to convert or not. We can go for them, but you find out that that's just inflating your overall cost conversion too much. And so you stop spending to reach those people that are up there. And so with that being said, it comes into another strategy that you can use. So that strategy, which is kind of a hybrid, is what we like to call a feeder strategy, which allows the algorithm to kind of play off two different campaigns. So you'll have your target CPA campaign that is maybe capturing this audience over here, right? In its known area below. But then you have a separate campaign that's, let's say, on manual CPC or max clicks, and it's targeting really good keywords that you want to see convert. And it starts to bring all of these people that even the max conversion campaign or other bids aren't seeing, and starts to bring them into the limelight of your campaign over here. So it's like, think of it more so like a top and bottom of funnel campaign. And so if you can use some of these hybrid strategies, you can make target CPA work, but just be aware that whenever you use restricted bidding, you're going to run into a scenario where you're going to hit a wall a lot faster than you would on max conversions. And you're not going to be able to optimize around it. It's going to be impossible. And so whenever you decide this, think about, where's my business in terms of the volume. So if you're below, let's say, 20 conversions a month, you don't really have the ability to run target CPA because you don't have enough volume to even learn to capture these people, right? Like if I were to just run target CPA on low volume, I'd be getting something like this. Be like, okay, cool, sweet. Oh, that's all we got. Okay, I can't learn all these other people that would then allow me to learn all these other people. I don't have enough volume to really optimize off of it. So it's just going to like pretty much live and die based off of, what signals you're feeding it. So there's no audience signals to feed it. It's obviously not going to get any sales. And so it's kind of a blend of, you have to think, okay, well, if I'm at 20 conversions a month and I want to lean more into target CPA because I'm not scaling, we're starting to hit a wall. I don't know, I'm not really happy with the results. I want to start optimizing and make some money first, and I'm okay if volume drops. Then you can maybe say, okay, 20 conversions a month, I'm going to run target CPA, and we're going to kind of play with that and sort of play in the lower, I guess, ballpark area of volume, right? And you're just going for pure optimization for cost conversion. Now, what that tends to, be is for people that have that data. Now, if you don't have that data, then you're definitely going to want to run something like max conversions, and it's going to be more aggressive towards actually getting all this new data up here that you wouldn't have consumed before, right? There's all these different users that are just floating around in the ecosystem, and it's changing dynamically. Some are going up, some are going down, some are, super cheap. All of a sudden you get like a massive volume of more new customers that get educated and they're bottom of funnel in terms of they're like ready to go. And so the market can just consume it. And this is sort of one of the biggest values of, Google search and Google shopping in the first place, is you have all this awareness being built, and it's just everyone's there like ready for the picking kind of thing. But the issue is there's a lot of other advertisers doing the same thing, so you have to be smart about it and know how the algorithm works. And so with max conversions, like I said, it allows you to sort of capture that a lot more efficiently, because all those new users might have totally different signals than all these other people that have been here, right? And I'll make it kind of like a different color for fun's sake. Um, but it's one of those things to where you just have to really understand what your goals are. And most case scenarios, clients want to scale, and so we typically stick with max conversions, and even use a hybrid strategy, like I mentioned earlier, to then feed the max conversions to then scale that as well too. So you have to understand, like I said, where you're at. Know the volume. If you have enough volume, if you have your goals aligned, you want to get more restrictive, target CPA only. That's going to be the move. But I'm not a huge fan. I use Target CPA more as a middle and bottom of funnel campaign because it's just going to scoop up from the bottom, really, at the end of the day. So, with that being said, understand that these numbers are always going to change. Max conversions is going to respond a lot more to what the market's doing, whereas Target CPA is going to more so cap yourself out in the market. And so you always want to be learning. You always want to be finding like what's bringing people to the actual space in terms of the algorithm's eyes. Is it men? Is it women? How old are they? Is the age changing? Right? We have new types of users coming in that it didn't know, and it's going to eventually die off. And now all of a sudden, the majority of users are now going to be red. And max conversions is just better at learning that versus target CPA. So if you guys have any questions about this is kind of a very basic understanding of how the algorithms work and what it kind of looks like from an outside in perspective if it were to be visualized. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'm happy to answer them. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks again.